Good morning, Cesar, and wishing you all a very happy Republic Day. It is on this day in the year 1950, our Constitution came into force, and with it came our rights and our duties as a citizen of India, and an assurance of justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. It is a day to remember our great leaders, led by Dr. Ambedkar, who envisaged the future of India and laid down principles on which it should run. Seeing the entire Cesar family today on one platform, I think is also a sign of unity and fraternity among us. The last 1 week was definitely an exciting week where we were all waiting for this day, and finally we are here. I now request our CEO, Mr. Shauvik Majumdar, to take over the session.
Thank you, Joy. Dear friends, good morning to you. Am I audible, Joy?
Yes, sir. Sir, a little louder. Increase the volume.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Again, good morning, friends. Wishing all of you a very, very happy 72nd Republic Day. Today, it is the day to celebrate the pride of our great nation, India. In such a beautiful day, I'm so happy that today we all have assembled here to hear and enrich our wisdom from a personality who need no mention, no special mention, let me say. Who can forget three idiots which have changed the way we all see our education system? I'm so happy and excited to present before you Chetan Bhagat. You all will be surprised to know that Chetan is not a newcomer in our CESA family. In fact, he undertook his training at our value-added business plant way back during his engineering days. So once again, heartiest welcome to Chetan, and over to you, Chetan. We all are very eager to hear from you.
Hello. Thank you, Majumdar sir. Thank you, Joy ma'am. It's really a very special. Normally, Republic Day is a big day, and you wonder what to do today. And it's nice that you gave me a chance to do this because then it makes the day feel extra special. Um, and I'm very happy to do this here, as Majumdar sir just said. Believe it or not, when I was a student at IIT, we had to do like some training and like some industrial visits and all that. And obviously, we could choose many companies. But now, to be totally honest, Majumdar sir, you don't know this, but one of the reasons, what do young boys want to do? They want to go to Goa. So we said we'll choose a company for training which is in Goa. So we
That's
chose
correct.
CESA
That's
Goa.
correct.
But I remember seeing the plant. I've actually seen the plant. I've seen the iron ore. I've seen everything, the steel getting made. So that has it's quite unbelievable that I'm coming here on Republic Day and doing this. I also know Mr. Anil Agarwal personally. He's a very spiritual kind of person, and I think I've spent a lot of time with him in India, as well as gone to his house in London and all that. So it's very special to do this. I'm happy that you guys celebrated this day in a special way. I think we are very lucky to have a republic. And in fact, I was just writing an article today on how now there are articles that India is turning the tide on coronavirus. We are seeing a decline in cases, we are seeing a decline in deaths, and not every country is out of the trouble, but we are. I mean, you never should take these things for granted. And I don't think it's over yet, but I think India is doing pretty good. And it's good to kind of mention that on Republic Day. I'm going to obviously keep this session as interactive as possible in this Zoom setting. I would have loved to actually be there, but what I'm going to do is just talk for a few minutes myself, and then do a lot of Q&A with you guys. And I think that'll be a good way to do this, because everybody's dialing in from their homes and things like that. So, as everybody knows, my journey has been very different. When I was visiting CESA Goa, I was not visiting as a writer. I was visiting as a mechanical engineering student. I thought that will be my destiny. That is what I will do. But then ultimately, I ended up doing something completely different from what I thought I would ever do in life. Uh, many many people will tell you that Chetan is not the best writer. I'm being very honest. A lot of literature experts will tell you that. But I'm the most read author in the country. I'm also the most probably known author in the country, and I think people are right. I'm not the best author technically. I don't know if there is a way to measure that, but because I'm not supposed to be one. I'm an engineering student. I'm a MBA. I was never meant to be like a writer in that way. So I'm not the best author, but I'm the best selling author, and that's the difference. And in life and in business, sometimes that's what matters. You need to be best selling. And I just thought I'll spend some time telling you how did that happen. How does somebody who come from a different background, somebody without any training, and how is it that I am more known, I am more successful than the so-called best authors? Why am I best selling? You know, and I think that's something to be learned from there, which I've learned about life, and I'm going to tell you that, and I think it's particularly relevant in the current scenario of what the world is going through. Even before even before all this corona and all happened, right? Even before all this happened, uh, this is something I used to say in all my talks, that the power of adaptation. People who come first in class, people who are the most strong, people who are the most intelligent, it's not necessary that they do the best in life. It is, you look back in your school, the child who used to come first, it's probably not true that he's doing the best in life today. And the reason for that is it's a law of nature, that the nature cares about species, about creatures who adapt faster than anybody else, who change with the times. That is the single biggest quality you can have as a human being if you want to be successful, is that change will keep happening. You just need to keep changing with the times. Now, the corona made us all change anyway, but I'm going to come to corona in a bit. But as far as I am concerned, you know, I started writing books, and a lot of authors write books. But for me, I never thought that books is the only way to reach people, because I saw the rise of technology, I saw the rise of social media, I saw the rise of course, all this. I mean, when I came versus today, then the consumption of content on television, on cinema, everything has increased a lot. And I thought that I am not in the business of paper. I'm not in the business of ink. So why should I be so attached to books? Now, author, books, everybody thinks that's no. I'm in the business of telling stories, and the stories can be told in different ways as long as I'm willing to adapt with the times. So I felt that most Indians, for example, of course, my books are popular, but most Indians consume stories from movies. That's just the way my country is. I can try and write books which are good and people will read them, but the reach of movies is always going to be much bigger. So I said, I'm going to try and make it in this field also. And for that, I had to adapt, right? And I'll tell you one thing, sometimes it's not easy to adapt, because I was already successful in books. And when you're successful in books, everybody's treating you as a star. They say you're the best, you are introduced very well, this that. But when I had to go to movies, nobody knew me over there, nobody. So I had to be a struggler again. I had to wait 3 hours to get a producers meeting. Then they will not meet me, or they'll meet me the next day. They say, oh, we don't know honge, You know, you might be doing books and all. It's almost a drawback if they see you're too educated, you're writing English books. They're like, yo, this is Hindi movies. It's very different. So you have to put your head down and change and say, you know what, I'm going to change. When I kept my head down, I kept working the producer till I finally got a break. And then finally, of course, when Three Idiots came, now today it's still being talked about. Two States, people still remember those movies. It would not have happened if I had not put my head down and said, you know what, I will learn the rules of this business and I will try to make it happen. It's very different. Movie business requires a lot of capital investment. Books business doesn't, for example. You know, movie business requires a lot of other people, stakeholders, like director, like producer, like actors, like music, which is not there in books. I had to learn all this, and I had to learn to work with all this and keep going at it till it doesn't change. Uh, Other things happened. When my first book came out, there was no social media. I know it's hard for people to imagine a world without Facebook, without Instagram, without Twitter. But trust me, some of us who are older in this call, we remember that time. And believe it or not, the world was functioning fine. We managed quite okay, not being in touch with 300 friends at all times. Um, and for me, a lot of writers say, I write books. I'm an intellectual. I write books. How can I do this Twitter business of one line and two lines? And for me, Twitter was the new literature. I said, I have to reach people. If I did not reach people, I won't become as successful a writer. So, so that's why basically that's why I had to do it. You know, so I started early on Twitter. I started early on Facebook, which allowed me to have millions of followers, and because of that I was known more, which is why I was best selling and the best guy nobody even knows, because they did not change with the times. You know, um, writing in newspaper columns, or uh, doing television shows, or doing motivational talks, or today a webinar like this, these are all things that are various adaptations. We, all of you listening on this call, have some things about your life you want to change. It could be your career, something at your work. It could be something in your health. It could be something in your relationships. There is definitely something we all want to change, but we are scared to change it. We get scared of change. We want things to be different also, but at the same time, we also feel like, I don't want to get out of my comfort zone. I don't want to do something totally different. You know, if I had not written my first book while I was working at the bank, I would not have become a writer. If I had not pursued movies, I would not have had Three Idiots. If I had not done social media, I would not have the kind of reach I do. If I had not started writing columns, I would not have an impact on national policy. If I had not started doing motivational talks, I would not have become a motivational speaker, and made that as one of my businesses as well. So it is something that I have now realized that change is something that is also always going to be there. But most people who have the capability, who have the intelligence, who have the hard work in them, they are just scared of change. And if you're scared of change, life will punish you. And if you're not scared of change, life will reward you. Think about your life. Whenever a big thing has happened, has it not always happened because of some change? Without doing anything, has anything happened? Always some big change leads to big outcome, big reward, big things. So being looking forward to change is a good thing, and we need to. And even adversity is good. You know, I know nobody wishes it, and people want to be problem free in life always, but actually it is out of adversity that we become stronger. You know, our grandparents and our great grandparents, look at the kind of life they used to face, right? Somebody was dealing with a partition, somebody is dealing with some war, somebody is dealing with some famine, somebody is dealing, like, survival was difficult. Today we don't have those problems, which is good, which is really good that humanity has progressed, but it also means that we are not as tough. It also means that we get scared of change very easily because we have not experienced different things in life. We are just like, okay, this is my comfort zone, this is my world. I don't want to be in and out of it. And I think that's why people suffer. In this came Corona. In this came something which I've always spoken about. It hit the entire world last year. This coronavirus not only was the disease, but the kind of changes it's created all over the world, like the lockdowns and the, all the various travel bans and all the various restrictions that came with the coronavirus, and the way it affected businesses, the way it affected people. It just took the world, like in a matter of weeks, the world was a different place. It was a different change. It forced people to change. It forced people to adapt. It was a gun to the head of people and said, you better change. And if you're not going to change, you're not going to survive. And I think that is when everybody had to change. Companies that changed did okay. Some actually did better. Companies who were prepared for change did better. Companies who did not change died. Some companies, of course, are very, very badly affected in some sectors. But for most people, it was an opportunity to create some change. This will get over. Like I said, in India, at least things are looking better for Corona, and now there's a vaccine. And so, okay, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, fine. This is going to go away, right? Are we going to go back to our old ways where we never change? Are we going to go back? Or is the coronavirus taught us that life is uncertain? Life is change, and I will not be afraid of change. I'll tell you my personal experience with coronavirus. I was writing a book in 2019. The whole of 2019, I wrote a book. And that book was ready for release in April. So I was very excited about it. And then in March, the lockdowns came. Suddenly, all the work I'd done in 19, they said, you can't release this book now. And I was like shocked. I used to do a lot of motivation talks. So much for the guy who thought he's adapted all the time. I'm telling you about my own. I thought I've figured it all out. I have different types of businesses. It's okay. So I can't release my book. I used to do a lot of motivation talks. That requires an auditorium full of people. No auditoriums, no full of people, no travel. Gone to zero. From 100, the business went to zero. Movie theaters got shut. You can't do shooting. You can't do, who's going to put money in movies? Gone to zero. Everything went to zero. So it's not like I was so well prepared. It was just like difficult, and I resisted, and I in my head I was in denial, and I said, this is not fair, and why is this happening to me? And then I realized, what can I do? Either I can sit and cry all day about this, or I can do one thing. I can write. Now, I didn't want to write because I just finished a book, but I said that's the only thing allowed is write, and try and take care of your health somehow and write. So I wrote another book. After 6 to 8 weeks, I said, okay, enough moping, enough self-pity, let's write a book. So I wrote another book, which is done. And so the next book that I would have written next year was also ready. Then in September, October last year, my publisher called me and said, I know we postponed your book release because of the pandemic. I also know Corona is still there, but can we release your book? I said, but you stopped my book in April. How do you want to release this book now? It was One Arranged Murder was the name of the book. And they said, the publishing industry is in bad shape. Bookshops are in bad shape. Nobody's going. If you release your book, it will give some energy to the industry. It will create some excitement. Can you release the book in the middle of a pandemic? And I was like, okay, let me think about it. They said, you have the social media, so you can publicize the book without even traveling. You can do your book launch virtually because people accept that now, that you can do a book launch over Zoom. And most of your books are bought by young people and they're buying on Amazon and Flipkart. So fine, your sales will be online. There will be bookshop sales, maybe less, but online sales will be more. I said, you know what, let's go for it. We went for it. very different. First time in my life I did a book launch and without entering a bookshop. I've still not entered a bookshop in such a long time. I did a Tapsi Pannu released the book over a Zoom call. We recorded it like this and we released it. And the book sales were mainly done on online sites. Now, these are all things because I had already adapted to these social media and online stuff that we could do it. And the book actually did better than my previous book. And I was quite surprised as to why is that happening. And that is happening because there are no other books in the market. There's nothing. Nobody would dare to release a book right now. So we released it and it was only us. Media was also free to cover the book because there are no movies. So all the entertainment journalists are sitting idle because the stars are not promoting their movies. So they're like, okay, a new book, chalo, let's talk about the book only. So I got a lot of publicity. The book did better than the previous time. And my next book is also ready, which I don't have to do anything this year. It's ready. It's going to come out this year. So even for me, it was a big change. I went through the denial phase. I went through the anger phase, self-pity phase. And then I said, you know what, let's make the most of it. And that's what I tried to do. And that's what I think for me, Corona will go away. 2020 went away. 2021 may also go away. But I have fundamentally changed the person I am. I am not going to ever be scared of change. I'm not going to be ever think that, what is happening today is what will happen tomorrow or 5 years later. Things are always different, not just at work, in your health. In your 40s, your health is very different from in your 30s. You have to take extra care of it. In your relationships, in your children, they're not going to be the same. A 5-year-old child is not the same as a 15-year-old child. Nothing remains the same. You will not remain the same. Your people won't remain the same. CESA will not remain the same. And you have to accept this fact about human life. And once you do, and once you embrace the change, you're like, change is good. Adversity is good. Getting out of comfort zone is good. You will actually do very well in life. And that will matter more than intelligence, your strength, whatever. Just your attitude towards change. I like change. Just say, I like change. I'm getting posted. Maybe it's a good thing, rather than think, oh my God, how will I do it? No, I have to learn this new system, new IT system or new whatever. Oh my God, how will I do it? Yes, it's good. Because change is the only constant. It's a cliched line, but yes, change is what makes us human. Change is what makes us do well. So for me, if there's one thing you take out from this talk, this Republic Day, is adapt, change all the time. With Corona, without Corona, you keep adapting, keep changing. Those were my opening remarks. We can do some Q&A now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So I think it was an honor to have you live, to hear you live amongst us. And you are a perfect example of what following your passion stands for. Shouvik sir would agree. So right from the chairman to everyone in the organization, passion is one word that we strongly promote. And I'm sure the CESA team can definitely relate with you on this. And every book that you have written, every of your work has a very important message to the society. So God bless your work, sir. Going forward, with your permission, may I take on for the questions?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. So I'll just call out the names and you can unmute and ask your question. Mr. Nand Bhatt.
Yeah, Jai Hind, sir.
Jai Hind,
So,
sir. Happy Republic Day to you.
Happy Republic Day to you, sir. What an incredible opportunity for all of us to hear you, sir. So before I say something, may I just need your permission to say something.
Of course.
Regarding your work. And then I will ask the question.
Yes.
So there is a शायरी called प्रेम परिचय को पहचान बना देता है, वीराने को गुलिस्तां बना देता है. मैं आप बीती कहता हूँ गैरों की नहीं, प्रेम इंसान को भगवान बना देता है. Thank you very much, sir, for creating that love, creating that affection, and creating that magic with your writing. We all read you a lot and we get inspired. So my question to you is, sir, when you get success, I mean, there are so many consultants, there are so many people who can help you to handle that success. But when you are, when you get rejection, when you are, in trouble, so what are your views and expert advice to deal with those failure rejections? Because they will one day become success. But that moment, that time is very important. So your advice for that, sir.
Yeah. See, failure is a necessary stops on the journey to success. Actually, when we see in the media successful people, the media normally will report only the success. So we feel ki, "Arey, they are always successful." But the path of success is filled with a lot of failure, you know. Look at the ISRO chairman. You know, he must be very educated guy, very intelligent guy. He must be capable that he's become the chairman of ISRO. But on national television, he faced failure, you know. So he on national television he faced failure, and then Virat Kohli, semi-final World Cup. We lost. We almost had won it, but we lost, and we lost the World Cup. So everybody has to face that, and it is true that it hurts a lot, and that's something. And that's something to you just have to accept it as part of life. Sometimes failure can help you also motivate you. You sometimes say, "Abhi karke dikhayenge," you know. But again, it is something we just have to accept and not let you. Once you know that this is part of it, you know. Once you know it's part of it, it still hurts. Like labor pains before childbirth, it still hurts. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but you at least know it's part of the process, you know. So failure is that pain which you have to go through if you want to be successful. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nanji. We'll now take Sandhya Malik.
Jai Hind, Chetan ji.
Jai Hind.
First of all, thank you so much for this, insightful talk. And personally, I was really impressed because, you are a perfect example of crisis to opportunity, which happens to be the theme of, today's Republic Day, event for us. And I think you have actually changed the whole impression of what a writer is all about. You said I'm not the best writer, but I am the best-selling writer. So that was something, which really got my mind ticking. This is how we should, this is how we should actually look at the path of success. That is what we call success. So now, as you talk about the change being constant, in the current times, my question is about work from home. I mean, it is actually a reality that's here to stay now. I mean, companies are making their readjustments for employee engagements and assessments. So what, in your view, are those, 5 motivation mantras in this transformed paradigm for our employees?
5
and even the management, yeah.
Like, as in, like, what kind of, I mean.
So under these circumstances, like the companies are actually making a lot of efforts to keep the employees motivated, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, when I'm working from home, I virtually end up working at least 5 to 6 hours daily, more than what I used to do earlier. I just don't know. I just start in the morning and I just don't know when to stop.
At least now, next time when people come to office, they will say ki chalo. They will not say ki office is difficult. They'll be like, office mein aaram hai.
I said there's a mandatory cut. You have to go home. Yeah, that stop is not there. So
Yeah.
from the employee perspective or the management perspective, what are those couple of motivational mantras from your side?
I would just say ki you must have some purpose in life, and you must have that why you're doing what you're doing. I think that often helps with your motivation, because every day you will not feel motivated. I'll tell you one thing. Every day it's not possible. Like, even though I love my work, it doesn't mean that I feel motivated every day. But what then I feel like, let's say going to the gym or eating healthy, right? Every day you don't feel like doing it. But then if you can feel motivated, great. So I think Yeah, but what helps is the bigger purpose. Why am I doing this? You know, why is this company important to me? Why is this place important to me? And I think that sometimes gets me to go to the gym or gets you to go to work. Firstly, to have that purpose, you know, and to realize that motivation har waqt nahi aane wala hai, you know. So that is the one thing. But secondly, to be motivated, you have to have that balance. Do not work 6 hours more than you used to work in office. You know, that's not good. It's not sustainable, and I'm sure that's not what CESA wants to do. CESA wants its employees to be happy. CESA wants its employees to have a balance. CESA doesn't want employees who say, I never talk to my family, or I am ignoring my family, I'm ignoring my health, but I'll make sure, you know, the the work doesn't stop. That's not the kind of company which will the culture that anybody would want, and that's not sustainable. So I think you have to draw the line. What I can explain from my experiences, I used to work in a company, and even though the work from home didn't happen, self-employed happened to me. And what that does is it requires a lot of self-discipline in both ways. You can end up working too less, and you can end up working too much. Whereas office gives a structure, you know. And I think that's something people will need to find that boundary and find that balance for themselves. That, you know, I can keep on working nonstop, or I have to put that line, which is the right balance. I don't want to work too less, and I don't want to work too much. So I think finding that balance, finding that purpose, I think those things will really go a long way. They may not be the 5 things, but I mean they're at least the 2 things which I think really is necessary in life. You must be happy. If you're not happy as a person, you won't be a good employee. How can an unhappy person be a good employee? So I think you must work on your happiness.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. We'll go with Mr. Sri Shaila Gowda. Your question, please. Okay, next, Ms. Tulasi. Can you please unmute and ask your question, Ms. Tulasi? Ms. Nikita Singh.
So, good morning and a very happy Republic Day.
Same to you.
So, question to you is, in your books, you have mentioned your association with CESA Goa. Would you like to share some more details about it?
I remember the I remember seeing the actual you know, where they actually make the steel, and that whole it was long time ago, to be very honest. I'm much older now, but you know, it was something I, I've come to this company again and again. Once as an engineering thing, that's when I came. Then when I worked in a bank, I used to work in research, fixed income research, and used to cover Vedanta as a group, as a whole. And I was writing reports on Vedanta. So then I visited it as a research analyst. And then I became friends with the promoter when I became a writer. So in different levels, I have been in touch. And today I'm doing a webinar for all the employees. So कुछ तो connection है कहीं ना कहीं से जो इतने ज़्यादा you know, points आ रहे हैं मेरे बार life में. So that's what.
Ms. Nehal Pannami. Nehal.
Yeah, good morning, sir. It's an honor to talk to you. And actually, sir, I want to ask you, what are your other areas of interest other than writing? If you would not have been into writing, what would be the area where you would have been?
That's a good question. And I think it's important for everyone to not let their work be all they are. And, you know, writing was my hobby at one point in my life, but today it's my work. So I feel there has to be more to life than just work. Even though you love your work, there has to be more to life than work. So I actually I love a lot of things. I love investing. So for example, like I said, I used to cover research. I used to look at companies to invest in and then recommend to people. So I still kind of have an interest in finance, and I'm quite likely if I had not made it as a writer, I would have remained in banking. I also love cooking a lot, so I could have been a very good cook, I think. That's something I really enjoy doing. I like teaching, you can say. So that in some ways I have become with the motivational speaker stuff, but I think that is something also I enjoy doing. I like running. That's my favorite exercise is running. So I like to run. Not every day though. I'm not always motivated, as the previous question I said, but I just feel it's good for me, so I do it. So these are some of the other things. I do try to make sure that I'm not like so into the glamour world or writing all the time that I lose track of other aspects of my life. It's everything has its place in life,
Okay, thank you so much.
To Nehal. Mr. Babaji Pagire.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah, Babaji.
Yeah. Sir, my name is Babaji Pagire, working with Business Excellence Function in value-added business. And thank you for the opportunity to connect with you, sir. So my question to you, sir, your very famous quote is there, something life is not about what you want to do, but what you ought to do. So how can we relate this with work-life balance or integration?
Yeah, you have to you have to chase happiness. Success is something which normally when I go and in a corporate setting and in a career thing, everybody's talking about success. And while success is important, why do we want to be successful? If you keep on asking that question, ultimately we want success to be happy only. And I think happiness is linked to success. There is a link, but it's not 100% link. Success is a component of happiness, but it takes more in life to be happy than just success. Success helps, but you also need balance, and that balance is in health and relationships. If your health and relationships are suffering, you no matter how much success you have, you won't be happy. Similarly, if you only have health but no relationships and no success, that also you won't be happy. So it's like a three-legged table which you need, and it won't stand without it. And for that happiness, if you imagine, you have to from time to time see your life as, how is that table doing? How are my three legs? And you normally two legs are doing good and the third one is not, and then you kind of say, okay, maybe I'm doing. And if you're chasing success too much, you're just making one leg strong, one leg strong, one leg strong, but the table is not standing properly. Why? Because the other two legs need adjustment. So always try to have that balance to nourish every aspect of your life, which is health, relationships, career.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It's an honor to talk to you, sir. Thanks.
Okay.
Mr. Kothilingam. Okay. Ms. Janvi.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Yeah. Sir, so my question for you is, how did you gather the courage to follow your dreams and not choose a very conventional path?
I just, like I said, I've always believed in change is good. That's the one thing I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in the room or anything like that, but I don't know, I always feel there's only one life, and if you don't do it now, I don't want the regret of saying I never tried. I wish I tried later in life. It's okay if later in life I feel I tried and I was such an idiot, I failed. That is also bad, but it's not as bad to me as I never even tried. So I think that's made all the difference. I want to try. I want to live 3-4 lives in one life. And I think luckily it worked out in certain things. Many things I've tried and they've not worked out also. So, but this one worked out. So I think always having that attitude that I'm going to try karne mein kya hai? Do you really want to live your life where you feel on your deathbed you're feeling, yeah, I never tried only. I don't want that. That's very not a good feeling. I want to feel like, okay, I tried but it didn't work.
Thank you.
So last two questions, Mr. Amlankar. Mr. Amlankar. Okay, we'll move on to Mr. Mani Bharati. You may please ask your question.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Chetan. Happy Republic Day. And my questions will be like, at the end of the day, what makes you to feel complete? How do you get the complete satisfactions out of your work? So it will be a bit personal, but we would like to hear from you.
Yeah. I think it's when I feel that I'm doing work that matters to me. And it's something I've realized in 2020 when I had so much free time. You end up doing so many things especially because I have different lines of work that you don't even know which work you're doing because you want to do it and which work you're doing because you're just habituated to it, or it's something that just you couldn't say no to, but you didn't really want to do it, or you're just doing it for money, but you didn't. So all these confusions come, but I think there are things you want to do and there are things you don't want to do. And I think I'm at least now at that stage of my life where I can choose and say, no, I don't feel like a connection, a passion for this work. I don't feel this, so I'm not going to do it. It doesn't mean you'll always feel passionate and motivated. Having passion doesn't mean every day, 24/7, you're going to be feeling amazing to do your work. You will not feel it. But it's at least on a broader level, I know that this is what I want to do. So I think it's just work that connects to me emotionally, to my heart. I think that's what is how I choose to do what I do today.
Thanks, Mr. Chetan. Yeah.
Thank you.
So we'll take the last question from the day from Mr. Kush Jeevan.
Okay.
Sir, I'm really honored to see you. I mean, first of all, personal thanks for introducing me to the Book of Worlds. I can't thank you more because 5 Point Someone was some of my first books, which motivated me to really read other books. And then, honestly speaking, while during preparation of CAT, we were told ki books padho and all those things. So this book basically increased my I would say, how you can, for the people who are listening here also, how you can improve your and get attracted towards reading also. At the same time, just wanted to mention one quote which I still remember from some of your conversation, which is the crux of whatever you told here today is कि कुछ भी कर लो, हार जाओ जिंदगी में, कुछ भी हो जाओ, बैठ के रो लो, but never give up. I thought, I think आपने किसी ZTV पे या कहीं आपने कुछ बोला, तो that is always in back of my mind. So thanks for, and you are really great, sir, and one of my real living legends and all-time inspiration.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So before we come to the end of this wonderful session, I'd request our CHRO, Mr. Praveen George, to kindly give a vote of thanks.
A very good afternoon and a very happy Republic Day, Mr. Chetan, and to all our colleagues. And what a way to have this Republic Day celebrated with you, Mr. Chetan. A lot of things that we learn from you, very particularly a few words, if I can resonate with whatever we have spoken right now, could be originality, purposefulness in life, seek for happiness, acceptance of failure as a part of life, and never say die attitude, and forever to find a learning or a lesson from anything that we do in life or anything that we undergo in life. Thank you so much for giving us such valuable insights on this auspicious day today. And we are very happy to have had you as a chief guest for this occasion today. Thank you so much for enlightening us. And your connection with CESA is something which is very, very special for us. And we want to continue this association for a very, very long time. And I'm sure today around 100 people of us, or at least 100 connections, I would believe that there are many more people who have joined in also, would have had an enriching experience throughout this conversation with you. A heart-to-heart conversation, I would say. Thank you so much. We've learned a lot from you, and there is so much to learn from you also. Thank you, Mr. Chetan.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Praveen. So it was indeed a great opportunity, and I think this would be a memory for all of us, a very memorable experience for each and every person in CESA. So if you were here in Goa, there would be probably millions of selfies that we would like to click with you. So that is not possible, but yet we would take the opportunity of having a group picture. So I request all of you to please put your video on. So we would like to take the photo with a V that stands for Vedanta. So
Like that.
requesting everyone to please put your video on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you.